The plains didn't forgive. They remembered every boot that broke their skin, every drop of blood that darkened their dust. At dawn they lay quiet, stretched wide and colorless, as if pretending innocence. By noon, the sun burned away the lie and showed the truth, bones half buried, fence posts splintered by old bullets, and the long scars where wagons had cut west and never looked back. Jonah Cade rode alone through that truth. His horse, a big iron gray named Ash, moved steady beneath him, hooves thudding soft in the dust like a heartbeat refusing to hurry. Jonah sat easy in the saddle, shoulders loose, one hand resting near the horn, the other hanging close enough to his gun to remind the world he wasn't harmless. His hat brim was pulled low, shadowing eyes that had learned not to give away what they felt. Men who lived long out here learned that early. Men who didn't ended up remembered by the plains. The ranch appeared slow on the horizon, low buildings crouched against the wind, a corral leaning like it was tired of standing, smoke lifting thin and gray from a chimney that hadn't been fixed right in years. The Caldwell place. Jonah hadn't seen it in 7 years, but the land knew him. He felt it in the way the air tightened, in the way Ash flicked a nearback like he sensed ghosts. Jonah slowed before the fence line. He didn't cross it right away. Last time he'd ridden out, there'd been blood on his hands and a promise in his chest he'd never said out loud. Promises were dangerous things. They followed you. They waited. A rider broke from the far side of the ranch, moving fast. Too fast for a greeting. Jonah's shoulders tightened as the man closed the distance, dust pluming behind him. When the rider pulled up hard, Jonah recognized him, Eli Mercer. Older now, beard gone gray in patches, eyes still sharp with suspicion. "Well, I'll be damned," Eli said, not smiling. Either hell froze over or Jonah Cade forgot how to stay gone. Jonah tipped his hat just enough to be polite. "Morning to you too, Eli. You got nerve showing your face here?" "Never lost it." Eli's gaze flicked to Jonah's gun, then back to his eyes. "You here for trouble, or did trouble come looking for you?" Jonah looked past him toward the house, toward the porch, toward the door he hadn't walked through since the night everything burned. "I'm here to settle something." Eli spat into the dust. "That's what men always say right before bodies start dropping." The front door opened. Jonah felt it before he saw her. The air shifted. The quiet deepened. Clara Caldwell stepped onto the porch, sunlight catching in her dark hair, pulled back tight the way women did when they didn't have time for softness. She wore a plain dress, dust-stained at the hem, sleeves rolled to the elbow. No jewelry, no wasted movement. Her eyes found Jonah like they'd never stopped knowing where he was. For a moment, nobody spoke. 7 years collapsed into the space between them. The last words he'd said, the ones he hadn't, the way she'd stood in that same doorway, face pale, hands clenched, watching him ride away without asking him to stay. Pride was a cruel thing. It made cowards of honest people. "Jonah Cade," Clara said at last. Her voice was steady, but not soft. "You picked a bad day to come back." He swallowed. "Seems I always did." Eli looked between them, tension thick as rope. "You know him." "I do," Clara said. "Unfortunately." She stepped down from the porch and walked toward them, boots crunching over gravel. Jonah watched the way she moved, strong, sure, like the land had shaped her. He wondered how many nights she'd stood alone against this place, how many choices she'd made that no one ever thanked her for. "You hear about the Mercer Creek killings?" she asked. Jonah nodded. "That's why I'm here." Eli stiffened. "Those were Travers' men." "Travers doesn't own Mercer Creek," Jonah said. "No," Clara said quietly. "But he wants it. And he's been making that clear." Jonah finally crossed the fence line, Ash stepping onto Caldwell land like he belonged there. Travers sent a message. "Through blood," Eli cursed. "He's been circling us for months, buying land with threats, burning out folks who won't sell." "And you?" Jonah asked Clara. She met his gaze without blinking. "I won't sell?" "That was her." "Always had been. Stubborn as winter." Jonah exhaled slow. "Then he'll come harder." "We know," she said. "That's why your timing is bad." "That's why my timing is perfect." A shot cracked from the ridge to the west. Ash reared, Jonah swore, and Eli was already reaching for his rifle. Dust kicked up near the corral as another bullet tore through wood. "Riders!" Eli shouted. Jonah swung down from his horse, boots hitting dirt as he drew. 5 men came over the rise, spread wide, rifles glinting. Travis's colors, red bands tied to their arms. "No attempt at stealth!" This was a message. Clara didn't scream. She grabbed a shotgun from where it leaned against the porch and chambered a round with calm, practiced fury. "Get to the house," Jonah ordered. She didn't move. "This is my land, and I'm not burying you on it," he snapped. Their eyes locked. Heat flared there, anger, memory, something deeper that had never found a grave. For a split second, the world held its breath. Then the shooting started. Jonah moved on instinct, diving behind a water trough as bullets chewed the dirt where he'd stood. He fired back, controlled, deadly. One rider fell hard, tumbling from his horse. Another ducked low, shouting curses. Eli took a hit to the shoulder and went down behind the fence. Clara dragged him toward the house, firing one-handed with terrifying accuracy. Jonah felt the old cold settle in him, the place where fear went to die. Travis wanted blood. Jonah would give him resistance. When the smoke cleared, 2 of the riders lay dead, the rest retreating, shouting promises they couldn't take back. Silence returned, heavy and shaking. Jonah stood slowly, gun still raised, listening for movement that didn't come. Clara lowered her shotgun. Her hands were steady. Her eyes were not. "They'll be back," she said. Jonah looked at the horizon where dust still hung like a threat. "I know." She turned to him, then really looked at him, like she was measuring the cost of saying what came next. "You brought this here?" she said. "I brought myself," he replied. "Travers was coming whether I showed or not." "And when he finishes with us?" she asked. Jonah holstered his gun. "Then he'll have to finish with me." For the first time, something like doubt crossed her face. Or hope. They were close cousins. "Why now, Jonah?" she asked softly. "Why come back now?" He hesitated. Truth was a dangerous thing, too. "Because some debts don't stay buried," he said. "And because I never stopped knowing your name." Her breath caught just once. She covered it fast. "Then you'd better be ready," she said. "Because this land takes more than it gives." Jonah looked around at the ranch, the plains. The sky stretched endless and unforgiving. He felt the weight of what he'd stepped into and the pull of what he'd never escaped. "I am," he said. And somewhere far off, Silas Travers smiled, already planning how to break them both. Night came down hard on the Caldwell ranch. The kind of night that didn't feel like rest, but like waiting. Lantern light bled weak and yellow through the windows, barely pushing back the dark that pressed close on every side. The plains were quiet, too quiet, and Jonah Cade trusted silence less than gunfire. He stood on the porch with his back against the post, rifle across his lap, eyes scanning the horizon where the land disappeared into black. The smell of gunpowder still clung to the air, mixed with dust and blood and the iron tang of fear no one had named out loud. Inside, Eli Mercer lay on the table, shoulder bound tight. Clara had stitched him herself, hands steady, jaw clenched, refusing help. Jonah had watched from the doorway, saying nothing. "There were things you didn't interrupt. Strength earned its privacy. You planning on staring holes into the dark all night?" Clara said, stepping out beside him. "Or are you going to sit down before your legs give out?" Jonah didn't look at her. Dark's got more answers than sleep. She leaned against the railing, close enough that he could feel her warmth through the cool night air. For a moment, neither spoke. 7 years ago, silence between them had been easier. Now it carried too much weight. "They killed the Miller boy last week," she said quietly. "Didn't even take his land. Just wanted folks to see it could happen." Jonah's jaw tightened. "Travis doesn't bluff." "No," she said. "He performs." Jonah finally turned to her. Lantern light caught her face, sharper now than he remembered. Lines earned not by age, but by endurance. She'd become something solid, something the land leaned on. "You should leave," he said. Her eyes flashed. "Don't. I'm serious, Clara. Take Eli. Take what you can carry. Head east. Travers won't chase ghosts." "And you?" she asked. "I'll give him something real to follow." She laughed once, sharp and humorless. "You always did think you could outride consequences. This ain't that." "No," she said. "This is you deciding who gets buried." The words hung between them. Jonah stood, setting the rifle aside. "I didn't come back to run." She searched his face, looking for the crack, the lie, the escape route. Finding none unsettled her more than doubt would have. "You stay," she said slowly, "and Travers will make this personal." Jonah stepped closer. "It already is." The sound of hooves cut through the night. Both of them turned as a single rider emerged from the dark, hands raised, moving slow. Lantern light revealed a man Jonah knew too well, Caleb Horn, once a deputy. "Now a dog on Travers' leash." "Evening, folks," Caleb called. "Travers sends his regards." Eli appeared in the doorway, pale but upright, shotgun in hand. "You got 10 seconds, Eli said. Then we stopped listening. Caleb smiled thin. "Travers don't want more blood. Not tonight." "Funny way of showing it," Clara said. Caleb's eyes flicked to Jonah. He figured you'd come crawling back eventually. Jonah didn't move. "Say what you rode here to say." Caleb reached into his coat slowly, pulling out folded papers. "Offer stands till dawn. Sell the land. Sign over Mercer Creek rights. Walk away alive." "And if we don't?" Clara asked. Caleb shrugged. "Then tomorrow night won't be quiet." Jonah stepped forward. "You tell Travers something for me." Caleb raised a brow. "He ain't fond of messages." "Hush now," Jonah said, voice low and deadly. "Save your breath for gasping my name." For the first time, Caleb's smile slipped. He nodded once, wheeled his horse and vanished back into the dark. The ranch seemed to exhale after he was gone. Eli spat. "He'll bring hell with him." Jonah looked at Clara. "He already has." Later, when Eli slept and the lamps were turned low, Clara found Jonah in the barn, checking tack by lantern light. The smell of hay and leather wrapped around them, familiar and close. "You meant what you said," she murmured. "Yes." "Even knowing what it costs?" "Yes." She stepped closer. Too close. Her voice softened, dangerous now. "You always were good at choosing the hard road." He met her gaze. "You always were the reason." For a heartbeat the world narrowed to breath and heat and memory. His hand lifted, stopped just short of touching her arm. "If I cross that line," he said, "I don't step back." She swallowed. "Neither do I." Outside, far off, a fire burned on the horizon, Travers marking the land. Jonah blew out the lantern. Tomorrow, the plains would remember new blood. If the tension's tightening and the stakes feel higher, hit like, drop a comment, and subscribe. Your support keeps these stories riding on.